Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So there's something that I got to share with you today, which is a service that is going to change the landscape for emergency preparedness. There's been one sticking point when it comes to getting prepared for long-term emergency situations that we've always had to deal with, but now there's a solution. So let's talk about it. All right, so one of the number one killers prior to modern medicine was various infections, okay? Antibiotics have changed the game for the human race. Millions, if not a billion people have been saved as a result of antibiotic treatment. Now, getting antibiotics has always been a difficult thing for preppers and getting their chronic medications. 50% of people are on some sort of medication in North America. Many of those medications are going to be things that they need in order to survive. Should there be a shutdown of sorts, should there be a grid down situation, a disaster, we're seeing all of these disasters mounting. Our faces are ever so more firmly pressed up against the fault lines, it seems, no matter where we turn, whether it's frickin' volcanoes, weather events, you got the cyber attack situation and the tensions escalating on various borders around the world, just to name a few. Okay, we know that supply chains can be cut, and when those supply chains get cut, your medication may run out. One of the hardest things for preppers is getting a surplus of medication without having to beg and plead with their physician. Well, now there is a solution, and stick with me throughout the end of this video because I have a discount code that you're going to be able to use on this website. This is going to allow you to get an emergency supply of real deal, legit antibiotics from licensed physicians. Okay, I've had conference calls with these guys for the last 2 months just to thoroughly vet them, because when I first heard about this, I was like, it sounds a little scammy. Did my research. I talked to some of the doctors who are part of this. I actually had my own prescription fulfilled by this team, so I know that it's legit. Now, I should say before we start, if you live in Canada, the service is not going to be available until February 1st, okay? I've had an exception because I have an arrangement with the company, but it's not going to be available until February 1st. In the States, it's open season, so you can go and do this right now while the getting is good. So this is going to allow you to get an emergency supply of antibiotics. Now, I'm going to go over all the ins and outs and the rules and regulations. This is 100% legal. It's real doctors who you're going to have a virtual appointment with and who are going to get you the stuff that you need if the grid was compromised. Now, as for the chronic medication part of this, I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but ultimately the goal is to allow people to have an emergency surplus of the necessary medications that they are going to need to ride out a disaster. How awesome is that? I mean, this is something which should have been around for a long time, and it should be hassle-free. I mean, we live in such a drug-dependent society anyways. I don't see why you would deprive somebody of an emergency stash of those things. Now, of course, any type of narcotic medication or any substance of abuse, they're not going to be able to prescribe. But if you have various heart medications or, whatever the case might be, those things I'm guessing are going to be okay. Now let's just talk about what this company is all about. Okay, the company is called Jase Medical. And remember to stick around to the end because I'm going to have a coupon code for you guys. They were founded by Sean Rowland, MD, a board-certified family physician. He's now assisted by a team of highly qualified medical experts and business leaders. And you can actually go on the website and it provides a list of all the doctors who are involved in this and their credentials. And remember, guys, this is actually geared towards the preparedness community. They finally caught the clue that, hey, people are out there buying various veterinary supplies because they've been restricted from getting the real stuff. Why not provide them a service that allows them to do that? So that's what it is. Currently, it's available in the United States. However, they are working on arrangements for other countries. Canada, like I say, should be up and running by February 1st. And I will post an update video when that is thoroughly ready. As a telemedicine company, company. Privacy and security is their top priority. They operate in complete compliance with governmental regulations and employ strict security measures to protect your privacy and data. As I indicated, they only use board-certified physicians in their provider network. How it works is you're going to have a virtual consult with a physician. That could involve a phone call, a text message, or a video conference. And they're going to ask you a few questions. If all the boxes get checked, you'll be sent a prescription. You'll be able to fulfill that on an online pharmacy. You'll have the stuff sent to you within a week. It's as simple as that. How long can the antibiotics be stored for? Well, I've done videos on this before. Typically, they're going to come with an expiration date of 2 to 3 years. But as we've talked about on this channel and as indicated on this website, there have been studies that have shown that most antibiotics will retain 90% of their potency as long as 20 years. And that is verified by a very large study, which was done by the US military, because they had this huge surplus of medication, which was worth millions, if not billions of dollars, that was getting wasted by constantly cycling out these medications. And they realized that the potency of these meds was still good long after the expiration date. So what this means is that theoretically, if you were to get yourself an emergency package of antibiotics, which is called the Jase case right now, it's going to have a 2 to 3 year expiration date on it. Now, of course, nobody can advise you to take it after that expiration date for legal purposes. However, there have been studies that shown that it will retain its potency long after that. And if the shizzy hits the fizzy and it's all you got, and even if it's only 70% potent and you have an infection which is eating away your arm, are you really not going to take it? I mean, let's get real here. So it's better to have it. So antibiotics have been studied extensively with regard to extending shelf life. However, other medications like those to treat chronic conditions such as blood pressure, thyroid, psychiatric conditions have not been studied as thoroughly. We suggest that you buy your 1 year supply, then use your regular refills to keep rotating out a supply of fresh medicine. This way you can keep your year's supply indefinitely with no additional cost. Now, this website takes antimicrobial stewardship seriously, so their policy is to only allow 1 emergency antibiotic pack per person per year. That's perfectly reasonable because most people don't have access to this anyways. So if you can even just have 1, and then of course, if you wanted to get another one next year, you could save it. Another member of your household could perhaps get another one, so you could probably get 2. The big question, of course, is this all legal? And the answer is yes, it's 110% legal. Prescribing antibiotics or other medications to have on hand for future use in the event of travel or emergency is a common practice amongst providers. With modern telemedicine technology, we are able to provide this service to patients via online encounters while also complying with all government regulations. Our goal is to prepare all patients the ability to prepare for their health and safety against the unexpected. So with this, of course, once you order it, you can't return it. That's going to be the case with most medications. This is not something which is going to be covered by your insurance, so it's something you're going to have to pay for out of pocket. But for the person who has everything in their first aid supply kit already, to have something as powerful as antibiotics in terms of what they are able to do, in terms of bringing somebody back basically from the dead, essentially, because I mean, an infection could mean the difference between, we're talking life and death. And antibiotics are one of the greatest innovations of modern medicine that changed the world. I mean, since the invention of penicillin, millions of lives have been saved as a result of this. So what do you get in your Jase kit? So let's see. So the pricing on the Jase kit is as follows. So it's $259.95. And what you're going to get is you're going to get amoxicillin, you're going to get azithromycin, you're going to get ciprofloxacin, you're going to get doxycycline, and I'm going to say this one wrong, but metronidazole. Okay, metronidazole. Forgive me about that. Okay, so those are going to vary in terms of the dosage. So with the amoxicillin, it's 875 milligrams, 28 tablets. Azithromycin, 250 milligrams, 6 tablets. Cipro, 28 tablets. Doxycycline, 120 capsules of 100 milligrams. And the Metro, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce again, 500 milligram tablets, 30 tablets. You'll also have the ability to talk with the pharmacist and the physician about how to use these medications when various situations arise, which ones you should use in different situations. Now, this is not intended to be a replacement for your family physician, okay? This is just meant to be something to allow you to build up an emergency stockpile of medication. And you will be provided with a guide on how to use these medications should a problem arise. Now, if you want to place an order with the company, you can use the coupon code Canadian Prepper, all lowercase, all one word, for $20 off up until February 10th, 2022. I know it's not a whole lot, but I tried to negotiate with Jase to the best of my ability to try to get you guys the best code possible. So use coupon code Canadian Prepper, get $20 off your Jase order of antibiotics, and that coupon is going to expire in February, and that is probably going to be the only sale they do for the foreseeable future because they are backlogged. They're very busy. Just keep that in mind when you do place your order, that you're going to want to get in sooner than later, because that's going to allow you to get to the front of the line. You might be waiting, if you wait too long after this video is done, to schedule your appointment. This is something which could essentially save a life. I mean, this stuff could be worth more than gold if it hit the fan. It cannot be overstated how important antibiotics are in a complete and comprehensive post-collapse first aid kit. I mean, this is going to be the stuff that people are venturing into the zombie-infested towns for. I mean, we see it in movies all the time. Wasn't there a scene like that in The Walking Dead where they had to go into the town that was infested with zombies to get some kind of medication for the kid who just got shot? Obviously, that's fiction, but you can imagine countless scenarios where if there's a disaster and you're waiting for help, look, even if it's just a week that the power is out because a natural disaster tore through an area, sometimes it only takes a day for you to get a cut or something like that, for an infection to spread, and it could potentially be fatal. So as much as I'm talking about this being tailored towards SHTF, full-blown grid down scenarios, there's a rationale to have this on hand for any local emergency. This doesn't mean that you should abuse it. Quite honestly, I'm very surprised that a service like this is available this day and age, when it seems that we are having more and more of our freedoms to purchase these kind of things retracted and taken away. So for something like this to present itself, I would just get it before somebody somewhere decides, you know, maybe we shouldn't let people do that. Now, they do provide a lot more information on antibiotic stewardship, okay? And that's just the appropriate use of antibiotics. They talk about the fragile supply chain and it being one of the greatest discoveries of the wheel. So I would encourage you to go and check out their website under the useful info section, and they provide a lot of context for why they came up with this idea. And it's, like I say, guys, it's pretty simple. It's pretty painless. I know it seems like it's going to be a big hassle going and talking to a doctor and stuff, but honestly, it did not take me that long at all. It really took all of like 15 minutes. I booked an appointment. Doctor phoned me up, talked with them for like a few minutes. Basically, they got all the essential information they needed. We had a few texts back and forth, talked to a pharmacist, bada boom, bada bing, and my Jase case is on order. And once it gets here, I will show you guys what I received. So go and use that coupon code, Canadian Prepper. Get it while it's hot. Get it while the supply chain is still vital, because by the sounds of things, China is shutting down. Russia is gearing up for something big. There appears to be another major calamity happening in somewhere in the world every other day. Now you don't have to rely on those various veterinary supplements. Now there's an easy way to access not only your antibiotics, but get a surplus of chronic medication that you might need in order to survive, okay, with relative ease. This is pretty friction-free. I've done it, pretty straightforward, very, very simple. So go and check it out, guys. Get it while you can. And let me know what your experience is if you've already used this service in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Canadian Prepper out.